Hi and welcome to week 4. This week we are discussing personal responsibility and mindset. Up until this week, we've been doing introductions, you've shared your why, your definitions of success, and also learned a little bit about what to expect in the college setting. But this wouldn't be a student success course without talking about personal responsibility and your mindset. And the reason why this is important because in the coming weeks, as you're looking at ways to improve your skills and even learning about new ones, you want to make sure that you're mentally prepared and keeping an open mind. Now, last week in homework number 1, you were able to assess where you're at currently with study skills. And that's really important because as you learn new skills and strategies, you want to make sure that you are accepting the challenges and open to trying new things, which really goes in line with your mindset. So first let's look at what it means to accept personal responsibility. So first of all, what is self-responsibility? And second, how does it play a key role in creating the life that you want? So how is it going to help you achieve your definition of success that you shared with us a couple weeks ago? Well, first of all, some people may see personal responsibility as a burden. Or they may hear personal responsibility and think that it's just common sense, it's something that's straightforward. But I really urge each of you to look at it as something positive. I like to think of personal responsibility as self-empowerment because it's actually your ability to respond wisely to situations where you might be faced with a decision. And in life, we know there's a lot of decisions to make. And the choices that you make based on that decision can move you closer to your desired outcome and experiences, or it might do the opposite. So that's why personal responsibility is so crucial. As we look at the skills that you're going to be learning in the coming weeks, again, you want to make sure that you're approaching the way that you decide to employ those skills or the way that you decide to approach your coursework in future semesters. Now, with personal responsibility, mindset really goes hand in hand. Now, mindset is really how you view certain situations, can also include your self-talk. What do you tell yourself when you're faced with a decision? In this slide, I like to give a visual. By using this comic, I think it really displays two different mindsets very well. These two individuals, and some of you may be familiar with the Kathy comic strips. If not, I'm probably dating myself. But in this Kathy comic strip, these two individuals are working at an assembly hall, and they're looking at some kind of document and determining if they're doing the right thing, they've made the right decisions. One person is taking personal responsibility by reflecting on themselves, whereas the other person is putting blame on others. So this is something that I want you to consider as we go into these next couple slides. So this next slide is looking at a responsibility model. And in this model, it shows two different types of mindsets. So there is a victim mindset and a creator mindset. So this chart shows what happens when a stimulus is given. So the stimulus could be any type of situation. Let's say it could be the grade that you get on a test. So how do you respond to it? What is the choice that you make? A victim mindset responds by blaming, complaining, excusing, and then possibly even repeating the behavior. So the result really doesn't always bring that person to the desired outcome or to achieve their goals. On the other hand, a creator mindset responds by seeking solutions, taking action, and trying something new. And the results often allows the individual to achieve their goals. So again, think about these two mindsets and think about what you're currently doing. How are you making decisions? And we can all employ these two mindsets depending on a given situation. It can fluctuate. But again, when we think about personal responsibility, it's your power, your ability to respond wisely. So how are you going to do that? Are you going to use a victim mindset or a creator mindset? Especially as you're accepting new challenges, which you will be faced with as a college student and even in your personal and professional lives in the future. Now let's get deeper into different types of mindsets. Now with mindset, a lot of research has been done. And one of the most popular researchers is Carol Dweck, and she has studied the concept of mindset and has found that there are two different types. So there is a growth mindset versus a fixed mindset. Now I know this is a really small image and it might be hard to read some of the text on here, but I do have a link where you can access the article that this image is from to learn a little bit more about mindset. And I do have this in the week 4 module as well. I do strongly recommend that you read it. But the growth mindset versus the fixed mindset is, again, another way for you to look at how you approach things. Now, a fixed mindset is described by looking at intelligence as static. So the research that Carol Dweck has done is more based on academic approaches, but again, it can be used in any type of setting. So when we talk about taking classes, maybe taking courses that are challenging for us, we definitely want to reflect on which mindset we're using. If we're talking about a fixed mindset, we're saying that we don't have the ability to grow. Our intelligence stays the same, meaning it's static. Now, how does one with a fixed mindset approach certain situations? So with challenges, a fixed mindset avoids them. With obstacles, they give up easily. Giving effort, they see effort as fruitless or worse. Criticism, they tend to ignore any kind of feedback or constructive criticism that might be useful. And they view success of others as a threat. On the other hand, a growth mindset, so somebody that displays that, looks at intelligence as something that can be developed. So it's something that is continuous. Maybe one can view themselves as a lifelong learner. Now, when it comes to challenges, those with a growth mindset tend to embrace them. They look at obstacles as a way for them to persist, especially when there's setbacks. Efforts, they see efforts as a path to mastery. So it's a way for them to keep progressing and learning about something. With criticism, they welcome it. They like to learn from the feedback that they get. And with the success of others, they usually find those as inspiring and as lessons that keep them motivated and keep them working towards moving towards their goals and achieving success. And as a result, those with a growth mindset have showed that they have a potential to reach even higher levels of achievement. So as we go through this, I want you to think about how you approach certain situations. A classic example that we give about a fixed mindset a lot is with students who approach math. A lot of students tend to have a fixed mindset about where they're at with their growth in math courses. And as soon as they hear math, a lot of the time students feel like that's a roadblock. But I urge each of you to change that view with any subject that you find challenging and employ more of a growth mindset and know that intelligence can be developed with a little work. So the choices you make. Okay, so the choices that we make, again, have an effect on our desired outcome. And as a college student, you're facing many different choices. So that could be choosing a major. That could be deciding whether you work while you're a student and whether you're going to work full-time or part-time. Whether you're going to be a full-time student or a part-time student. And that usually balances out with whether you work outside of school. You can also be faced with a decision to drop a course because you feel it's too hard or maybe it's too easy. When it comes to time management, activities that you do outside of school, going out with friends instead of studying for an exam, the amount of units that you take in a semester is also a decision that you make. And then taking 2 challenging courses in one semester is also something that you might be faced with. So these are, again, very specific examples, more for a college student setting. But the choices you make really are in every aspect of your life. So in these typical scenarios, what I want you to see in common is that all of these choices really require careful decision making. And I really want each of you to always take a step back and think about how these choices have an impact on your success. And really just be open to making adjustments if necessary. In the next slide, we're going to look at an effective way for individuals to make choices. It's a choice management strategy, and it's called the wise choice process. It involves the use of critical thinking by answering 6 questions. So in any situation, you can use the wise choice process by asking yourselves these 6 questions. So number 1, you want to take a look at what is your present situation. Number 2, how would you like your situation to be? 3, what are your possible choices? Do you have any options? 4, what's the likely outcome of each possible choice? 5, which choices will I commit to doing? And 6, when and how will I evaluate my plan? So in these 6 questions, you're really allowed to break down the factors that will help you make a better decision. So I know it seems like a lot of work to answer these questions, but it doesn't take a lot of time. It depends on the situation that you have at hand. Obviously, if it's something like buying a home, or buying a car, then of course it's going to take more time when you answer these questions because there's a lot of variables to consider. But using the wise choice process could be very quick when it's something like, what should I eat today? So again, this can be used in any type of life situation. And in this week's discussion, you will have a discussion board prompt due this week. You're going to be able to practice using the wise choice process based on the results of your homework number 1 self-assessment. So definitely become familiar with these 6 questions. I would say there's no right or wrong way to answer it. It's just looking at your present situation and the choices and options that you have at hand. And with that, I'll end with this quote. So the best years of your life are the ones in which you decide your problems are your own. You do not blame them on your mother, the ecology, or the president. You realize that you control your own destiny. And this is by Albert Ellis. So again, I want you to look at personal responsibility as a way for you to empower yourself. This is a way for you to take control of the actions that you make or that you take upon yourself and determine if it's going to successfully move you towards what you want to gain in life. So I hope you find personal responsibility as a positive way, a positive skill and strategy, and start using it in everything that you do. As always, let me know if you have questions about the concepts or anything we go over in this lecture, but I hope you enjoy using the wise choice process this week.